Hello and welcome to this week's video, Task 6. This week we're going to be looking at 2-point perspective. Now you'll have probably noticed that we don't have any Engager videos up for this week's lesson. There is a reason for this, and that's that the Engagers for Engager 6 and 7 are both literacy based Engagers. So if you could attempt Engager 7 this week and then attempt Engager 8 next week prior to the lesson, then what I'll do on the next video is I'll run through the answers. So on this week's lesson we're going to be looking at doing a 2-point perspective house. So we'll be taking the drawing up in the top left corner as a basis for the drawing that we're going to produce in the middle using the 2 vanishing points. What you'll need for this is a rubber, pencil, pen or a ballpoint pen, black, ruler, and hopefully you've got a set square, but if not you can get away with just using the ruler. So building on last week's lesson. So last week we looked at doing the floating boxes. We're going to be doing basically the same principle using the vanishing points, but we'll be using vanishing points below the line, therefore all the vertical lines will disappear off up to the vanishing points to allow us to create the other axes. So that's what we're working towards. In fact, just before we start, I will run through a couple of points on this just so you're aware of what we're going to do before we get going. What it will probably be a good idea to do in this lesson is to pause the video and work through on your own sheet the minor stages, building it up, or it will get overly complex. The first thing we're going to be doing is forming a box that this house will sit within. Don't worry too much about the garage or the sloping roof for now or any of the other details. First thing we're going to do is start to form the shape. So first off, you'll have your blank sheet of paper. The first thing I would do is very lightly with a pencil draw a 90-degree line up the page. So set your set square up there, horizontal to the rising line, and just line it with the side of the W. Put a very faint line down the page. From there, pick a point on that line, which is going to form the bottom of the house. Then draw your vanishing lines off up to the vanishing point. So these are just construction lines at the moment, and they will be very faint, and quite deliberately so. What we'll do is I'll put harder lines in as we're going. In fact, I'll just draw that one in a touch darker, just so you can see. So that's the first thing we're doing. Next, this is where we need a ruler, and there is a little bit of measuring to do on this task. We are going to measure a point 5 centimeters up from the bottom. I'm just going to put a little mark on there, and again from here we'll draw off to the vanishing points. So that's created our first section of the box. So we're just in line to the side of the W here. We are 5 centimeters up. So if you want to pause the video and go away and do that, that's the first activity you need to do. So once you've done that, we're going to start measuring out and laying out the box. I've also attached a separate sheet with some sizes on as an attachment within the homework file. So you'll be able to see from this one that the top of the house up there is 5 centimeters tall. We're going to go 3 centimeters deep along this bottom line and 5 centimeters along the other way, just to start to build up the top of this house. So moving back to the drawing, I'm going to come along here 3 centimeters, make a mark. Along the bottom line we're going to go 5 centimeters, and again make a little mark. From there, use our straight edge, line it with the horizon, put a line in, and again line it with the other side of the house and pop a line in. And that's giving us the basic form of a box. From there, you can draw it across to the opposite horizon, so the opposite vanishing points, on the horizon. And that will give us the box that we're going to draw our house within. So again, it's probably worthwhile time to just pause the video and have a little go at that yourself. So once you've created your box, the next thing we're going to do is look at drawing in the roof. Now again, I'll just very quickly refer back to the other drawing. The roof is set 3 centimeters up from this datum point here at the front corner of the house. So we're looking at 3 centimeters up, and this will allow us to draw out the roof once we've drawn that line on there. So if I measure 3 centimeters up, pop a mark on there, and then I'm going to just faintly transfer the marks across. Now, the next thing to do, if you look on the top line there, you're going to need to estimate the middle. I think my middle's about there. From there, I can draw a mark up from here, where I've made the 3 centimeter mark to form the front of the roof. And I can also look at where I've transferred through this line to the back, and I'll just put it in a little bit dark, just make sure you see it. Transfer a line from there up to the top, and that gives us the ridge of the house. From there, you're then simply adding in a line for where the top of the roof would go across to the far side of the building, and that gives us again a reference point to look at where this line would run across here. Just make sure you can see that, and then draw that up to there. And that gives us the top of our house. So again, it's probably worthwhile time just to pause the video and have a little go at doing that yourself. From there, the next task to do is going to be drawing on the garage. Now again, I'll just refer you back to the drawing sheet just in case. So the garage is going to be 2 centimeters along the bottom, and we're going to go about 1.5 centimeters up, so it'll come in just below the roof. So again, fairly straightforward. Mark 2 centimeters along from the back of the house there, and then we'll go 1.5 centimeters up, coming in just below the roof line. From there, I can draw a line across to the vanishing point. Draw a line up the side to where it meets the top of the roof of the garage, and then we can draw a line across to the opposite vanishing point. That will give us the basic shape of our garage at the end of the building. Now the windows and doors, you'll notice that the windows and doors I've done on the drawing I've shown you already is slightly different configuration to the house up here. I'm perfectly happy for you to just copy the house up here. From a personal point of view, I think I would go with something a little bit more advanced than that. And what I would start off by doing is looking at where your door is going to go. Your door wants to go approximately in the middle of the house, so I'm going to pick 2 lines on the bottom of the house there. In fact, I'm just going to nudge them along a little bit just to make it look slightly off centre now I've drawn them on. So there and there. And again, using your set square, you can then transfer the markings up. Fairly happy that's going to work out, but you may just have to look at where you're going to set your line on this, just to make sure it looks accurate. Again, just drawing off to the vanishing point. I'm actually going to copy that line through a little bit further because I'm going to use it for the top of the windows as well. So that's the door. Then look at the windows. So the windows, I'm going to set myself a window up here at the front edge. So I'm going to draw the leading edge on the upstairs and downstairs windows. So I'm using top of the door frame as a reference point there. Then I'm drawing a separate window up at the top there. From there, I'll transfer the markings across. Transfer the markings across. And what will happen is, as the windows are getting further away towards the vanishing point, they're going to be shrinking down. So, I've added those, and again, it's probably worthwhile at this point just pausing the video and drawing on those details yourself. So, once you've drawn those details on, the next thing to do is to actually lay out your windows. So, again, just pop set square on there, the other side of the window in there, put a smaller window above the door, the same width of it, and then I'm going to stick the next window a similar distance away, making sure that they match up downstairs and upstairs, because that's what they would do on a real house. And there we go, we've got our windows added on. And finally, the last thing we're going to do on this, just remove that line in there, is going to pop the garage doors on. Very similar. I'll put a vertical line in on here, running up to close to the roof. We'll transfer it across sideways to the vanishing point, and then we'll put in a line at the other side. If you actually want to draw some lats on the garage door, then just put a couple of markings down the side, maybe divide it up into 4 sections with 3 lines, and again transfer those lines off towards the vanishing point. That should give you the outline of your house. So I'm just going to jump across drawings here. So the next stage to do would be to simply pen in the lines that you're going to keep. So ignore all your construction lines around the outside edge. And if you go over the whole thing with a fine liner. From there, you can add your thick and thin technique that we've looked at in previous videos. So you can go around the outside edge, double thickness in the lines. It does work quite effective on this type of drawing because it'll actually give you some definition where the roof ends and the garage roof starts. So that works quite well. And then at that point you can rub out all your pencil lines. Finally, the last thing to do is to move on to adding some colour to the house. Again, I'm not going to go through showing you all the drawing sections on this because we have covered it in previous videos. If you pick your light source, then obviously all the light is going to be coming down from here. So the top surfaces will be as light as possible. The surface on the far side will be as dark as possible, and therefore you've got a medium on the right hand side of the drawing. If you've got an angle running between the right hand side and the top, then you're going to see a gradation running through as you're going up towards the top. If you did want to put any detailing on, you can do. You can add bricks, but all your lines should always be running off towards the vanishing points on the respective sides. So if I wanted to add bricks on this end, I would start laying out where the courses of bricks are going to go and running them off towards the vanishing point. Again, in terms of detailing, you can pick your colour scheme as you want to. It might be worth just putting some little flicks across, as we've looked at on again one of the previous videos with the trucks on the glass, just to give the impression that it's made of glass. And that is a 2-point perspective house. Thank you for watching.